Eh bien voilà, bienvenue à toutes et à tous pour cette prochaine intervention. Le thème portefeuille d'identité numérique en Europe et au-delà, panorama du marché et stratégie nationale à l'ère d'eIDAS 2. Et nous avons le plaisir d'accueillir Giorgia Dragoni qui va nous dérouler cette intervention. You have 30 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry if I speak English, but my French is very bad. I studied it in high school, but it's still it is a long time ago, so I cannot speak a single word. So I'm very happy to be here with you today. My name is Giorgia Dragoni. I'm from the Politecnico di Milano. That is an Italian university. I may have a slide, okay. And I'm from the Digital Identity and Wallet Observatory. That is a research project within the Digital Innovation Observatory. That is a big research center within the Politecnico di Milano. So I'm a university researcher. And in my everyday life, I deal with topics related to digital identity wallets, cybersecurity, and so on. So I will give you some ideas, some results of my work of research, and I hope it will be interesting to have an overview on what's happening in the digital identity and the digital wallet world and market. This is just a very quick presentation of the research project. So the name of the project is Digital Identity and Wallet Observatory, and it is a research project, a permanent one. We have been researching on this topic from 2019, so it has been 7 years now. And we do research, empirical research, trying to understand what is happening in the market, so given an overview on the digital trends and on the innovations that are coming in a market. And we try to discuss it within some networking moments in pre-competitive discussion. So we have a community of companies that work in that field. So first of all, just to be everyone on the same page, I'd like to give you a definition of what is a digital identity wallet according to the Digital Identity Observatory. So we decided to identify 3 key characteristics. So a digital identity wallet is something that can allow a user to store documents and credentials or attributes, we can call it like this, that are both identity-related or not. So you can store different kind of documents and credentials within your identity wallet. Second key characteristic is that the wallet is not just a sort of container, something in which you can store your documents, but you have the possibility to use it also, to use them to access services that are both in the physical world or in the digital world. So you can present your credential, your attributes, to access values that are, to access services that are value-added services for you, citizen. And then another key characteristic that is very peculiar to wallets, to digital identity wallets, is that they allow the user to have an autonomous management of the credentials. So the user can choose which credential he wants to be in this wallet, to whom to share the credentials, and so on, to what services he wants to access, and so on. So the user is central in the digital identity wallet model. Said so, we have made a collection, a census of digital identity wallets projects all around the world, so at an international level, starting in 2023, and we have collected until now, until this moment, 197 different projects of digital identity wallets around the world. They are mainly mobile app system, so mobile-based system that enable identity management, digital identity management, credential, as I told you before, that can be, these projects, developed both by government agencies or private entities. So you will see some results, because we have collected and analyzed the wallets that are both from the public world and private world. This is like a sort of overview on what we are seeing at the moment if we look at the digital identity wallet landscape. At the basis, we can say there are the so-called traditional digital identity systems that are right now consolidating. So digital identity systems, traditional digital identity systems still exist. We don't have to forget them, and are still growing and consolidating in some countries. Some digital identity systems are transitioning toward wallet-based systems. So some countries are choosing to evolve their system towards digital identity wallet solutions. On the other hand, there are solutions that are born as wallets. So some like general purpose wallets, for example, the big tech wallets, Apple Wallet or Google Wallet, that are progressively integrating digital identity credentials in wallets that already exist and that were not born in order to manage digital identity credentials. And then there are some countries, some public solutions also developed in countries that are maybe outside Europe, but that they are choosing this model, the wallet model, in order to develop new digital identity systems. So there are different movements. We are like just used in Europe to think about the movement that is going from digital identity to wallet, but I just wanted to underline that there is also a movement that is going from wallet to digital identity, or to say better, to general purpose wallet to digital identity wallets. Said so, what is in our collection, in our project's collection? As I told you before, the sample is made by 197 digital wallets. As you can see by this chart, by this slide, digital identity wallets are not just an European phenomenon. So they are emerging all around the world. There are both private and government-based, so public solutions. In Europe, we are seeing an exploding, I can say, a very growing number of wallets that are public ones because of the eIDAS regulation. But all over the world, we have both private and public solutions. Here are the numbers, so the specific numbers. As I told you, we can have public solutions, so solutions that are provided and developed by government bodies or by public agencies. We can have solutions that are developed by private companies, but in order to be used in a public field, so for the public sector, to access government services. And then we can have wallets that are the majority, if we look at the international outlook, that can be developed by different private players, so startups, technology providers, big techs, as I told you before, so like Google and Apple and so on, qualified trust service provider, players that are in the payment field, and so on. Here are the different credentials and attributes that we have identified within the wallets we have analyzed. So, as I told you before, one of the most interesting characteristics when talking about the digital identity wallet model is that you can store within your wallet different kinds of credentials that are mainly identity related, because we are looking at digital identity wallets, so wallets that in which you can store at least one identity related credential, but that can vary a lot also in different sectors, so you can use them for different applications. We have more than 100 wallets in which you have already the possibility to integrate your identity documents, like, for example, your identity card or your mobile driving license or your passport. Then we have general documents like, for example, birth certificates or residence certificate and so on. Then we have credentials that are related to the education, academic, and professional sector. We have e-signatures that are very related to digital identity. So in 31 wallets, you can store your certificates for electronic signature, and so on. You see in that part that you can have also credentials that are not trusted, not typically related to a unique identity. So you can have, for example, tickets from your ticket ride or from your boarding pass if you are traveling, or fidelity cards in the retail sector, and so on. There are some differences if we see if we look at private and public solutions. So public wallets in this moment, so at the moment for the evolution that this phenomenon is having, are concentrating a lot, are focusing a lot on digital identity credentials. So we see that 76% of public wallets allow users to store digitalized identity documents. The private sector, instead, focuses more on daily usage credential or attributes, for example, the payment methods that you use every day, as well as more innovative use cases, like, for example, the electronic keys, that are keys that you can put into your wallet in order to open your smart door or your car, and so on. Another interesting thing that is quite related to the presentation we had before is that big techs like Apple or Google are also trying to enter this market, so the trusted digital identity market, because they already have existing assets. So they already have wallets in which they would like to insert some identity documents. They are already doing it in some countries, like, for example, in some US countries, you can have your driving license both in Apple Wallet and in Google Wallet. In Japan, you can have in Apple Wallet your identity card, so your digital identity card. And in some other countries of US and also UK, you can have a credential that is related to your passport that you can use like an ID pass in some particular application, like, for example, security checks at the airport. But let's see what is happening in Europe. So let's focus now on Europe. In Europe, I think you may know that we have the push of the regulation. So eIDAS 2 is the regulation that is driving and influencing in a very, very strong way the migration towards the digital identity wallet model. In particular, within our work at the observatory, we conventionally divide the work in 3 different streams. We have the regulatory stream, so the publication of the regulation that has been made on the 30th of April of last year, so 2024, so 2 years ago, sorry. After a long period of writing and discussing the text of the regulation. Then they started to publish the implementing acts, so the documents that are stating how to concretely implement the legislation, that are still ongoing. And the implementing acts are an important milestone because they mark the deadline, these 2 deadlines, that will be the deadlines for member states and for relying parties, private relying parties and public relying parties. One is the provisioning of the wallet, of the UDI wallet. So member states will be mandatory, obliged to provide at least one digital identity wallet by Christmas Eve of this year. And relying parties, so private companies and public administration, will be mandatory accepting them a year later, so the Christmas Eve of 2027. Then we have the technical stream. So we know that they are developing the ARF, so it is the Architecture and Reference Framework. And they now reached 2.8 version, so they are still updating the version of the technical procedures and standards that will define the technical part of the wallet. Then we have the implementation stream, and I will give you some more detailed views about it. We have here two different elements of work. One is related to large-scale pilots, so you may know the consortia that has been divided into two batches. The first 4 large-scale pilots have already ended their work, and now we are in the second tranche of LSPs that are aptitude and we build that are still working on the UDI wallet testing and implementation. Then we have the developing of national wallet projects from every single country in Europe, in the European Union. Focusing on the large-scale pilots, I told you that the work of the 4 first large-scale pilots has already come to an end, and we have the second batch, Aptitude and We Build Consortium, that is working on the use cases that have been selected, that are the most interesting one, in order to keep on the good work that the first large-scale pilots already made. We have over 300 organizations that are involved, both from the public world, so representative of member states, and both in the private world. And a part of them have already been involved in the previous large-scale pilots. A very interesting thing, and that is that they are working and implementing the testing of the new use cases directly in the national wallets that are currently developing. When talking about national wallet projects, we have tried to represent here every single country that is in the geographical Europe. So it's not just the European Union, but it's the comprehensive view of all Europe, even if countries are not in the European Union. We have identified 37 different cases from European countries of digital identity wallets. You can see the different colors that are associated to the different projects. If the dot is red, it means that the project have been announced, just announced. We know anything about it, but we know that they are currently working on it. If the dot is yellow, we know that the project is in the trial phase. So there's something already public, already shared, but the work is still going on. And then we have the green dot. That means that we have already operational project, already active project that are still developing, but that are already open to their citizens, like, for example, France Identité in France, or Documenti Suio in Italy, and then I will tell you something more. You can see also that there are some, the most of the solutions are public solutions, but in blue, in light blue, you have some marked private solutions that are developing also. We can divide, oh, sorry, I forgot about Portugal. Just a special mention to Portugal, because Portugal has just announced that they have worked on the first business wallet project that is operational in the European Union. So it's a very fresh news. It's from January 2026. they have a ready business wallet that is the first case in Europe that is meant to simplify the interactions between public administration and private companies, especially for SMEs. So it is meant to contain some credentials that are relevant in the business field. As I told you before, we see the Brussels effect. We can call it like this. So also countries that will not have to be mandatory compliant to eIDAS 2 because they are not in the European Union are working as well on the development of digital identity wallet projects. So we see, for example, Norway, Iceland, and Ukraine, as well as United Kingdom, with different levels of compliance to eIDAS 2. So from simple interoperability to the wallets that are eIDAS 2 compliant, until the development of UDI wallets that are just as as UDI wallet characteristics. So some countries are trying to work in order to be interoperable and to be fully related to what is happening in the European Union. Last thing that I wanted to underline is that, as I told you before, all the European countries are working on that, but we see completely different strategies if we try to categorize them. There are some countries that are developing ex novo projects. So they are developing totally new solutions, totally new systems that are not related to the digital identity systems that are already in place, that already exist in that countries. On the other hand, we have other countries that are trying to leverage digital identity systems that are already in place and integrate them in their new digital identity wallets. I just tell you a pair of examples. In the ex novo development projects, we have Greece. Greece was very they had a very immature situation, we can say, if looking at digital identity. So they started in 2022 developing their Greek wallet, the gov.gr wallet, that is already operating because they didn't have any digital identity system to leverage. On the other hand, we have, for example, Italy, that chose to use an app that was already in place in Italy, that is IO. IO means me in Italian. That can be accessed just using your previous digital identity, that is SPID, on one hand, and on the other hand, we have the electronic identity card that you can use to access online services. Another difference that we can underline, another kind of categorization that we can do, that we can offer, is that some countries are developing for the moment, because everything is very dynamic and things can change from one day to the other, to the day before, sorry, to the day after. Some countries are developing state-led solutions, so for the moment are concentrating to just government-based wallets, to government-developed wallet. And some countries have already declared that they are both working to public and private solutions. So, for example, Germany, it's a very interesting example, because I don't know if you know, they did the Funke project, that is an innovation challenge. So they selected, they involved 11 different private companies that were developing and testing some wallets. And then 4 of them won, so 4 of them were selected to be effectively operating in the German context, but they are in parallel operating to develop their government-based wallet, German wallet. So they are working on both sides. Just a little focus on Italy, because I'm Italian, so I know the Italian situation very well. As I told you, Italy has defined a strategy for the provisioning of the wallet, that the name is ET wallet system, which will be comprising both a public solution that is provided by Istituto Poligrafico e Zecca dello Stato and PagoPA, that are two like state-sponsored organizations. But in this decree law that has been published in March 2024, Italy declared that it will be possible for private companies also to provide their own wallet solutions, so to act like wallet providers, to be certified, and so private companies that want to develop a wallet can be certified as UDI compliant. The Italian app is IO, as I told you before. They developed a first functionality that the name is Documenti su IO, means documents on IO app. That is already available, so starting from December 2024. And you can have your health card, your mobile driving license, your disability card, and some payment methods, so some payment cards, in your sort of wallet. I cannot call it wallet because at the moment you can use it, you can present your credential only in physical world. So you can just present it for like physical interactions. But you cannot yet use it for accessing service in the online world. These are the numbers for Italy. So we already have over 10 million users and over 18 million documents that have been stored on the EO app. So they are continuously working in order to reach a big part of the population. Last slide, the key takeaways, just to summarize the things that I showed you. So we saw that the wallet is becoming a widespread model, not just in Europe, but all over the world. We saw that in Europe, with the EIDAS 2 revision, a lot of countries are already working on their digital identity wallets, and there is in place a transition from digital identity systems, traditional ones, towards wallet-based solutions. We saw that different countries have different strategies. So some of them are leveraging existing systems, and some of them are developing new systems. And we see that Italy, for example, has decided to choose a complex process that is integrating private solutions and public ones. So thank you very much for being here today. It was a pleasure for me to be here. If you want, you can scan the QR code. At the QR code, you can access all our research reports from the last 3 years that are available in English. They are totally free of charge upon registration. So if you want to access and know something more about the research, it will be a pleasure for us to show some more research results. Thank you very much.